Philippines lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Which causes the country to have frequent seismic and volcanic activity. Hundreds of them happen every year, with over 13 destructive incidents since monitoring has started. Do earthquakes serve as an early warning sign for impending volcanic eruption? Let us unravel the mystery of earthquakes with our friends from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, also known as PHIVOLCS, right here on Dynamic Living, The Total You.
Welcome to Dynamic Living, The Total You, with our episode, Making Sense of a Trembling World. We are here at PHIVOLCS with our expert here, Ishmael Narag. He is the officer in charge of the Seismology Division. And to our dear viewers who are watching us on television and in the net, as well as for our radio listeners, Dynamic Living, The Total You is the longest running talk show of Hope Channel Philippines. And so dear viewers, please stay tuned as we continue on with our discussion. Magandang araw po sa atin, sir.
Magandang araw din po, and thank you for inviting me here. I'm pleased to be here in Dynamic Living.
Opo, kasi napansin po natin recently, di po ba, parang yung mga kababayan natin medyo, anxious sila because we hear and we read in the news about earthquakes happening in this place, in that place. So, yung fear nandun eh. So, we'd like to make an understanding sa ating mga kababayan on bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng earthquake.
So, intindihin po natin yung situation ng Philippines. Ang Philippines is located along the Pacific Ring of Fire. So, yung Pacific Ring of Fire is a belt of zone around the Pacific Ocean where earthquakes and volcanic eruptions normally occur. No? So, because yung zone na to, dito po nagko-converge o nagbabanggaan yung ibang plates. Kung titingnan po natin dito sa Philippines, yung Pacific plate or yung Philippine Sea plate on the eastern side, at saka yung European plate, no, na nasa western side naman, binubunggo yung Pilipinas. So it's being squeezed, and in the process, nagkakaroon po tayo ng mga lugar na nako-compress, and dahil dito bigla itong kikilos o mabibitak. And this is the reason why we have earthquakes. No? So normally they would occur in places along active faults and along trenches. No? So yung trenches, they are the zones where the plates dive into the interior of the earth, pumapailalim dun sa Philippine archipelago. No?
Marami po ito sila, Sir Ishmael. I mean, if you look at our geography, we are composed of how many thousands of islands. Would you be able to say na hetong mga areas na to, these are where the trenches or the fault lines are located, so that the people, like for example, magmamigrate sila, they want to stay there, they would be able to say, heto, this is prone to it, so, we can do something about it also.
Okay, so normally hindi yan nakikita kaagad sa normal na mapa. So what we need to see if we want to know kung may active fault nga doon or merong trenches is to see yung features, no, or the morphology or yung hugis nung ibabaw ng mundo. No? So makikita natin din yung pagkakalinya ng mga bundok at saka yung mga malalalim na lugar sa karagatan. Only then can you see features that would indicate na meron po doong trench at meron po doong fault. No? So sa trenches naman, those are very deep expressions in the surface of the earth. No? Normally nasa dagat yan, where the plates converge. No? At ito ay napakalalim. No? So in the 70s, it was believed that the Philippine Deep is the deepest, pero we've seen that the Challenger Deep is deeper than the Philippine Deep. No? But ito pong zone na to nga, malalalim na lugar na to because we know na yung plate pumapailalim. And dahil dito, yung feature na lalabas ay napakalalim nga. No? So in fact, kung may kaaway ka, ihulog mo daw doon sa lugar ng trenches
hindi mo
ay
na
hindi
siya
na makikita.
Uh-huh.
Yung mga faults naman, normally faulting is a response to the compression, dulot ng forces na nagkakabunggo ang plates. No?
Mas madali po ba siyang maintindihan, Sir Ishmael? Itong mga faults na to, fault lines, kunyari, nakasementado yung daanan na yan or isang lugar at nakikita mo may mga pagbibiyak dyan. Would it indicate na, ito is, the product of an earthquake or a movement, and it will spell na, kumbaga, tell us na, okay, this area can be very prone to that.
Okay. So, meron yung normally makikita natin crack lang. The crack does not indicate it's already a fault. It should indicate movement. No? So may pagkilos. It would have to displace yung lugar na nagkaroon ka ng bitak. No? So hindi sapat na may bitak lang. Ang tawag doon sa bitak, joint lang yun. Pero kapag may indication of movement, yun na yung tinatawag nating fault. No? At kapag may indication na yung last na movement nito is within the past 10,000 years, sinasabi natin active yung fault. Okay,
past 10,000 years.
10,000.
Pero is there a possibility na itong fault na to, na sinabi natin the past 10,000 years, may movement ngayon, is there a possibility na yun siya ay mawawala din? Or talagang for life na magiging fault talaga siya?
So, when we say na active yung fault, it would indicate na within our lifetime, continuous na active yan. Probably in the future na magbago na yung stress field. So, ang naglilikha naman ng ating mga pagbitak yung mga puwersa on our sides. No? Kasi nga yung Philippine Sea Plate at saka yung Eurasian Plate bumubunggo sa Pilipinas. Kung nagbago yung direksyon ng mga plates, which will occur probably a long time after today, hindi na tayo probably buhay at that time, doon po hindi na magiging aktibo yung fault. Pero at the moment, we still continue to consider all of the faults na nakikita namin na aktibo, ay active yun.
And would you say, sir, na meron tayong tinatawag na mapa for that also? And what do we call the map? So that the viewers and the communities would understand na, okay, this is the map and this is where it will all be located.
Yung mapa natin na kikita po natin sa website would indicate yung location ng mga active faults. We call that an active fault map. We also have a seismotectonic map which would indicate the major earthquakes all over the Philippines and relating this to the active faults. No? So, we do this normally because we want to see kung saan yung distribution of earthquakes and probably give us an idea kung ano yung risk dun sa isang lugar. No? So, we do a lot of active faults mapping, so identifying where the faults are and what is the potential of that fault to create a large earthquake at gaano kalaki. Okay.
So, ibig sabihin po, if you are able to predict, based on our technology now and our scientists na ito is, can be an active area, you can also predict the intensity or the magnitude of that particular earthquake.
We can give scenarios, no? So meaning we would estimate yung hazards related to earthquakes, no? So of course, the mother hazard will be yung ground faulting or yung rupture along active faults. So it's very important to identify where the sources are. And normally the faults will not fracture continuously. No? So, they fracture in segments, putol-putol po itong gumagalaw. No? And kung gaano...
So, hindi siya sabay-sabay?
Hindi siya sabay-sabay.
So, there's a misconception pala na pagka merong tuloy-tuloy
siya. Okay. So, kung titingnan mo yung mapa namin, merong mga mahahabang faults, but they are not rupturing at the same time. Yung ganong kahaba. No? So, normally, they rupture in segments. And yung segment na yon, depende sa haba na yon, would indicate kung gaano kalakas yung kaya niyang i-generate. No? So, paano nga ba nalalaman kung segmented? Yes. Okay, so maraming tatanong kung ganon. Well, if biglang nagbabago yung angle ng fault, no? So that would indicate na yung point where yung vertex of the connection of the fault, normally that would indicate a break, no? That would indicate a segment, no? And sometimes you also look at historical data, no?
So, yung mga previous na nangyari.
Previous na nangyari. So historical data, instrumental, and those written accounts, no? So the written accounts will give us an idea, okay, may malaking lindol pala dito a long time ago. And even stretch this further if we do paleoseismology. Ang paleoseismology, we dig a trench, no? So we hukayin po namin where we think the fault is passing through. And
is there a possibility, sir, na kung fault na yan, mari-repair natin yan, mapapagdugtong natin, or walang ganyan? Kasi di po ba, kunyari, ang tubo, may problema, pwede nating pagdugtongin yan
So there's no adhesive for active faults, no? So there's nothing strong enough to resist yung natural forces ng plates, no? So we're talking about energy that would be released na halos similar to an atomic bomb, no? So you would need very strong adhesive para hindi to kumilos.
So in other words, with that in mind already, we understand na there's nothing we can do about it kasi that is structural and natural but we can do something about it in preparing our people should it happen.
That's correct. So well, there are some areas that are heated yung fault, and yung properties ng fault would only slide, no? But you're correct, most of the active faults, they will move after a certain period, no? After storing enough energy.
Is there such a thing, sir, as a cycle? Like, for example, you have an earthquake now in this particular area, say, and then you will be able to say na, okay, after 10 years, it's gonna move again and you're going to have that, or walang ganon?
Merong study na ganon. Actually, part of the studies that we're doing in terms of long-term prediction is to look at this, what we call a cycle, no? So at some point the faults will store the energy, it will move, and then it will get locked, no? Magla-lock siya, and that locking mechanism will depend on the characteristics of the rocks, no? Yung resisting frictional force nung rocks natin.
So how do we now determine, sir, na heto how do we register, ano yung registry natin for knowing na anong intensity meron tayo, at ano ang ibig sabihin ng intensity at magnitude when we're talking in relation to an earthquake?
Okay. So unahin ko muna yung portion where the magnitude and the intensity. Kadalasan kasi malabo to sa mga tao. So, both is a measure of strength of an earthquake. Actually, medyo nauna pa yung intensity. When the intensity scales were developed a long time ago, this was based on effects ng earthquake. So, what would be its effect to people, to objects, to buildings and the environment. So, basically, it would look at the impact of the earthquake, you know. And
that's intensity. So yun yung impact, yun yung nakikita natin, nararamdaman natin.
Okay. So there will be a list of descriptions, gradations of descriptions ng effects, and it would fit together into one number. No? So makikita po natin yun sa intensity scale. You don't need an instrument for this. All you need to do is look at what's around you after an earthquake, and then compare it to what is being described at an intensity rating. Then you can get the intensity rating.
Yung intensity rating po muna natin is it rated as 0 to 10 or 1 to 10? Or kagaya po sa ating mga storm signals, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yes.
So yung intensity scale here in the Philippines, we're using the Phoebos Earthquake Intensity Scale. This is intensity 1 up to 10. No? So sa ibang country, iba rin yung intensity scale na ginagamit. Bakit magkakaiba yung intensity scale? Originally, we used a scale na medyo pattern from Europe.
Okay.
No? So we just adopted a scale from Europe na doon nagbibehave yung mga objects nila. But we saw na hindi to pwede for the Philippines because, for example, there's a description ng response ng chimneys. Hindi naman madala.
Wala naman tayong chimneys.
So, mga asukarera lang yung may mga chimenea. So, we started to look at what happened during the July 16, 1990 earthquake, common objects in the Philippines, and then we devised our own intensity scale. So, with that, medyo adaptable na dun sa
Pag sinabi po
environment.
nating 1, sir, siguro parang galaw lang ng konti.
Kadalasan hindi siya nararamdaman
pagka 1. Pagka nandun tayo sa 5, 6, doon natin nararamdaman.
Okay. So, doon na nga natin nararamdaman. Mga 3, marami ng tao nakaramdaman yan. Intensity 4, if you're a light sleeper, magigising ka. Okay. So mga 5, marami nang magigising, marami nang nakakaramdam na ito. Ang 6 doon na nagkakaroon ng damage. No? So mga poorly built structures, they start to get damaged. No? And yung newer buildings, they start to get damaged at intensity 7. So at intensity 8, nagkakaroon na ng mga twisting of pipes, etc. And until to the point na yung complete damage state is intensity 10.
Opo. Pag magnitude naman po, sir.
Okay, yung magnitude naman is a concept that was developed in the US by Charles Richter. So he needed an instrument. What he did is to standardize the instruments and define magnitude 0. No? So he said, okay, pag mag-deflect ang recorder ng ganitong kalaki, ito yung magnitude 0. And from then on, he devised this logarithmic scale. Pag sinasabi po natin logarithmic, powers of 10. No? So powers of 10. So basically, ang sinasabi lang ng scale na dinevelop ni Charles Richter, a magnitude 5 is 10 times greater than a magnitude 4, a 6 is 10 times greater than a 5, etc. No?
So yung Richter scale natin, that's the one na palagi nating naririnig, di po ba? So dito natin nire-register at magkakaroon ng awareness ang mga tao what to expect.
Okay. Tama po kayo. So, we normally use the magnitude as a measure of the strength of the earthquake. This is based on instrumental data. At isa lang po itong value na to.
Scientific ito.
Scientific ito. Scientific din naman yung intensity, no? It's based on empirical data. Pero if you siyempre magtatanong kayo, ano ba mas reliable? Do you look at magnitudes or do you look at intensities? Ang scientists would look at magnitudes because it's a very objective way to measure the strength of an earthquake. Kuha ka ng data, you measure, apply the formula, you get the magnitude value. Whereas yung intensity is very subjective.
Yes,
So,
at saka yung ordinaryong tao, maintindihan niya.
Correct. So not all objects are also there. No? So, however, for response agencies, they would prefer to look at intensities kasi nakikita nila yung epekto nung earthquake sa isang lugar and they would know, okay, saan tayo magre-respond? Magre-respond ba tayo doon sa areas na matataas ang intensity o doon sa mahina? Of course, we will go to areas where the intensities are higher. Oo, so where limited resources ng rescue and relief would be concentrated.
Kaysa naman ikalat natin sila lahat na wala na tayong matulungan.
So, it's best to look at where the intensities are concentrated and we can already do this if we know the magnitude. We have a software. All we need to do is plug the location of the earthquake and what is the magnitude, and then we can already estimate yung intensity ng earthquake all over the Philippines.
Ano po yun, sir? Ang isa bang earthquake na nangyayari, how long usually does it last? Kaya ko po tinanong sa inyo yan kasi di ba, kunyari it hits this particular area and the residents or the people around that area will always say na meron pa. So we would like to be able to understand ano ba ito, gaano katagal, what to expect, and then ito mga tinatawag na mga aftershocks, is there such a thing? O kaya mga foreshocks, what are these?
Okay. So, unang tanong is gaano siya kahaba? Okay. Instrumentally, mahaba yung record ng ating earthquake. However, tayo naman, ano lang ba yung nararamdaman natin? For a very, very large earthquake. Now, for example, yung July 16, 1990 earthquake, some people may not know this, but this earthquake struck Central Luzon in July 16, 1990. And the level of ground shaking went for hours. No? So, ganun siya kahaba. However, yung extreme ground shaking was only about 45 seconds. When we say extreme ground shaking,
yun yung talagang...
yun yung malakas na itutumba ka. That's why we always advise people to do duck overhaul, stay where you are, and do the duck overhaul procedure.
So yan pala yung reason, sir, kung bakit when we educate our people, we always tell them, do not make any movements as yet.
Kasi
so pag tumigil siya, huwag ka munang gumalaw. Yun po ba yun?
Yun yung reason behind it. We've seen time and again na kadalasan ng mga casualties, injuries and fatalities kasi kumikilos pa yung mga tao at the time of na malakas pa yung movement ng ground, no? So itutumba ka lang nun. That's extreme ground shaking. However, the ground shaking will persist for more minutes, even up to certain hours, no? And sometimes the aftershocks will also follow. Okay. So ano ba yung aftershocks, no? So aftershocks, there is a pattern ng mga earthquakes. There's the main shock, aftershock, may foreshock, main shock, aftershock.
Opo.
So yung main shock is the earthquake na may pinakamalaking magnitude. Okay. Among the sequence of earthquakes occurring in one region at time period, siya yung may pinakamalaking event.
So, kumbaga, siya yung pinakamararamdaman mo. Kumbaga,
Okay,
yes.
so yun yung pinakamataas ang magnitude, therefore mataas yung intensity na pwedeng maramdaman. Yung mga succeeding aftershocks o earthquakes doon ay tinatawag nating aftershocks.
And these are smaller in terms
Smaller.
of intensity and frequency?
So depende na yun if it's shallower or deeper. But normally, the magnitude is always lower than the main shock. Yun yung mga aftershocks natin.
And
These
for
are
how long-
adjustments.
For how long can it usually last? Kasi di ba minsan naririnig natin na the aftershocks can still be felt a day or 2 or 3 days after.
Right.
And it does really happen.
Right. So the aftershocks normally will occur if you have magnitude 5 and above. No? So magnitude 5, it will last for about 2-3 days. So ang standard operating procedures namin is once magkaroon ng magnitude 5, we already look at the area kung gano'ng kadalas yung aftershock and when will it end. However, for very large earthquakes, yung magnitude 6, magnitude 7, it could go for months up to years. No? Even up to now, we are still recording aftershocks of the 2013 Bohol earthquake. No? So
Meron pa rin talaga.
Meron pa ring activity na nag-occur na we still think it's part of the adjustment process. Kasi nga pag nagkaroon ng earthquake, kikilos yung ating mga lugar, and there are areas where it is being compressed, where it is being dilated. Yung po ay naiipit po yung mga bato, meron ding lumuluwag. Dahil doon, we need to adjust. And yung adjustment process na yun ay in the form of earthquakes din. So, until it stabilizes to the point na wala na tayong earthquake masyado.
So, paano po yun? So, kunyari, when we instruct people to construct their buildings or their houses, kasama po ba yan dapat sa alam nila kung anong klaseng materyales ang gagamitin at kung saan sila pwedeng gumawa?
Tama ka doon. So, initially planning stage pa lang, sinasabi na which areas could be used for formal settlements. No? So, the land use planner will indicate, okay, itong area na to, safe ito. Not only for earthquakes, but all types of hazards, flooding, landslides, etc. No? So, these are being established. And then, if there's a need talaga na magstay doon, therefore, protection is needed. However, on our part, we insist that there's this buffer zone along active faults because
pag sinabi niyo pong buffer zone, you're referring to that area, kumbaga, it's a no man's land.
No build zone.
No build zone.
Opo. Okay. So, what we advise is 5 meters on both sides where active faults are located or where the active deformation is occurring. No? So, dahil dito, because we've seen compelling evidence na once the fault moves, lahat po ng structure on top of it will be destroyed. No? Will collapse, will suffer severe damage to the point na hindi na talaga siya magagamit. No? So we want to avoid fatalities during earthquakes. That's why we say wala na pong titira where active faults are located. Okay.
So, Sir Ishmael, ano pong relationship ng ating earthquakes to volcanoes? Does it mean na heto kung merong maraming volcanoes around that area, mas prone din siya magkaroon ng earthquakes? O it's just the earthquake is purely basically based on this natin?
So, merong earthquakes na tectonic which is related to where active faults and trenches are located. But there are also volcanic earthquakes. And volcanic earthquakes, kapag may magma na po tayong lumalabas, it will puncture yung surrounding portion of the magma, and then this will create earthquakes, volcanic earthquakes dun sa region na yon. So, kadalasan nga where activity starts to occur along active volcanoes, nagkakaroon muna ng mga volcanic earthquakes. No? There's this clustering of volcanic events, na volcanic earthquakes, and even tremors due to the movement of magma inside the volcano.
Heto po tayo, okay, na-clarify na po natin na we are really prone for earthquakes. Does it mean also correspondingly, Sir Ishmael, na magkakaroon din tayo ng tsunami? Kasi palagi natin naririnig, ano itong tsunami na to? And people, along the coastline, sometimes they panic.
Ang tsunami kasi is due to a lot of processes. No? So one process that would generate a tsunami, and most common, would be earthquakes. No? So what you need is a very large earthquake, number one. it should be located sa dagat. No? So dapat yung location ng earthquake natin kadalasan nasa dagat or malapit sa dagat. Because kailangan po natin ng malaking deformation dun sa dagat. And yung movement supposed to be vertical. No? So merong mga earthquakes na palihis, merong mga earthquakes na bumabagsak at meron din tumataas. So yung mga vertical movement pataas pababa, siya yung nagko-cause ng tsunami dun sa dagat. Kasi the ocean will respond to the movement of the ocean floor, no? And that will create these big waves na
And can we also, like for example, pwede din ba nating ma-predict or masabi din natin na okay, this area can and may have a tsunami should there be an earthquake with an intensity of this much?
Okay. So yes, because as long as we can identify large earthquakes occurring along those areas, we can say na, okay, etong mga areas ito prone sa tsunami. We can model this now numerically in computers. Even without the event, we can already see kung ano yung maximum wave na pwede niyang i-generate and how far it can inundate yung horizontal flooding. No? So, there are certain assumptions on what's on the ground. No? So, basically, we assume na walang mga buildings, and we can see how far it can go. As long as wala pang ordinance that would indicate that this is, ito na yung mga permanent settlements dito sa lugar na to, we assume nothing is on the ground. No?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue our very interesting topic here on and about earthquakes. So please stay tuned to Hope Channel.
This nation lies in the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region that has produced some of the most destructive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions in history. This country hosts 23 active volcanoes and has experienced more than 90 destructive earthquakes in the last 400 years. The ever-present threat from these forces of nature has prompted the creation of a national agency that will study, investigate, and monitor geotectonic and volcanic activities that may pose risk to public safety. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, is a service institute of the Department of Science and Technology that is principally mandated to mitigate disasters that may arise from volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, and other related geotectonic phenomena. Its vision is to become a leading global science and technology institution in helping develop communities safe from and resilient to volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, and other related hazards. Its mission, on the other hand, is to provide timely and quality information and services for warning, disaster preparedness, and mitigation. It aims to achieve this by developing and applying technologies designed to monitor and accurately predict and determine areas prone to volcano and earthquake hazards, and capacity enhancement for comprehensive disaster risk reduction.
Alam mo ba yung nagka-cause ng earthquake po natin or lindol?
Sa sa ibang lugar po na napanood ko lang po sa news.
Yun yung ata yung sa may center point siya na pinanggagalingan tapos nag-release siya ng pulse. So pag-release niya sa Earth's crust, doon nag-occur yung earthquake. Yun ba yun?
No.
Dahil sa sobrang init ng panahon siguro. At sa maraming nangyayaring mga pagbabago ng climate. So nagko-cause siya ng super init sa ilalim ng lupa. So pag gumalaw, siguro kaya siya lumilindol.
Kung magkakalindol po ba, alam niyo po ba yung dapat mong gawin? At ano po ba yun?
Ang unang-una po ma'am, wag po magpapanik. Tapos pag na po ng halimbawa, medyo huminto po siya, maghanap po ng matibay na pwede magpagkublihan para hindi po tamaan ng mga building o kaya Tapos maghanap din po ng mga bakanting area na pwede para hindi mabagsakan ng mga building.
So sa mga educational earthquakes, mga earthquake drills, laging magtatago sa ilalim ng may strong foundation na bawa desk, ganon, or structures para dun sa mga falling objects. Tapos, after nung earthquake, dun na kayo mag-exit sa stairs, fire exit, mga ganon. So, no panicking ganon.
Pag may lindol, maghanap ako ng pagtataguan, tapos cover ko yung ulo ko. Yun, tapos maghanap ako ng ligtas na lugar ko sa yung mga...
Siguro dahil pag lumindol, syempre magpapanik ka, pero maging kalma ka lang, maging relax. Tapos kung may nakita kang mesa sa ilalim, siguro pwedeng magtago doon. Or something na magiging safe ka bago ka mabagsakan ng mabibigat na gamit tulad ng cabinet or something na pwede siyang mabagsak sa iyo.
Sigurado ko mga gusto ninyo ang inyong mga tinutulungan kalooban. We'll take a very short break and when we return, we'll continue on other things do you have in mind that you believe could end your needs and that which first world class care ay natin it is a very better and whatever Welcome back to Dynamic Living, the Total You, with our episode, Making Sense of a Trembling World, with our very own guest, Mr. Ishmael Narag. He is the OIC of the Seismology Division here at PhilVox. So sir, at least we've laid down the grounds on bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng earthquake and the fault lines. No? Ano-ano pong meron tayong seismic hazards?
Okay. What we can tell you are geologic hazards. No? Even if we take away all of the buildings, nandiyan pa rin yung hazard na yan. So, there's ground rupture along active faults. No? So, we all know na once an earthquake will occur, it is often generated by fracture along active faults. No? And that fracture, especially when malaki yung earthquake natin, it could rupture the surface. And yung surface rupturing would cause a lot of damages at the surface.
Kasama po ba yun yung mga uprooting ng mga kahoy natin, lahat ng mga nandoon?
If it's along the active fault, it could actually uproot and even tear yung ating mga trees. No? So we've seen cases of that in Masbate and even in some parts where in Surigao City. No? So again, yung active faults natin would be the mother hazard. No? That's where the earthquakes will occur. Then, there's also ground shaking, which is medyo malayo ang inaabot ng ground shaking.
So, hindi lang doon sa area kung
where
saan.
the active faults are located. People think na, okay, active faults lang yung ating concern, but it's actually the ground shaking. Then, for example, in Metro Manila, where the Valley Fault is located, ang ground shaking is intensity 8. There are gradations of intensity 8, but the level of shaking is intensity 8, meaning we expect more buildings will get damaged.
More property damage.
So we're talking about a lot of debris due to damaged buildings. No? So it's important to know na the ground shaking itself will be enough to cause a lot of casualties, injuries, and fatalities. And of course, there's also ground failure. So we can have landslides. No? So when you shake areas na steep ang slopes, it could dislodge some of the parts of the mountain, and
so
it will
there's a
cause
possibility,
landslides.
Sir Ishmael, na itong mga landslides na to are the product of itong shaking na ito.
Oo, pwede kasi landslides could also be triggered by earthquakes. It could also be triggered by rains. No? So water and rainwater and ground shaking could cause landslides. No? So or combinations of both. No? Yun din yung pwedeng mag-trigger ng landslides. In fact, if we yung human activity then can also induce landslides. So it could be combinations of the three. Pwede tayong magkaroon ng malalaking pagtibag dun sa ating matataas na or matatarik na lugar. And then there's a phenomenon which we call liquefaction. Okay, so this liquefaction, this is a phenomenon wherein soil, unconsolidated soil, yung mga buhaghag na lupain, kapag inalog natin to ng matindi, it experiences extreme ground shaking, it will start to settle and behave like water. Kaya sinasabi natin liquefaction.
Kaya hetong pag nangyayari yan siya, Sir Ishmael, that's kind of very dangerous for people around that area kasi pwede silang ma-carried away by that.
No,
hindi din.
Hindi rin. Liquefaction, soil lang to na
pero naging parang
tubig. Parang tutubig siya. No? So, ang problem dito ay we would see buildings starting to settle. Kasi once soil starts to behave like water, it loses its load-bearing capacity, meaning hindi na ito makabuhat. Anything on top of it will start to sink. Okay. So, yung mga areas na prone to liquefaction are those near river systems, no? So we have bridges. Sometimes people build houses near the river. They don't recognize the easement na requirement, no? Especially if you're an informal settler.
Kahit saan na lang.
So, ang tendency rin ng lupa na nag-liquefy, it will start to flow. Okay, so you will experience movement of the soil and then makikita mo nagkakaroon ng maraming bitak-bitak. No? So, itong maraming bitak-bitak na to will also impede movement, especially when you have roads. No? So, makikita mo sira-sira yung road system, hindi ka agad makarating yung mga rescuers. Along coastal roads, along roads near lakes, no, yung lake shore, yan. So it's more of yung liquefaction will not cause too much of the fatalities, but it will damage a lot of properties
around the area,
especially if nag-tilt na to na hindi mo na magagamit. Okay. And then finally, there's this tsunami that I explained a while ago na kapag malaki, it will create these waves, no, na although much later darating yung wave, but still, if you're not prepared, pwede kang ma-inundate, inundate and will add to the fatality count.
If you will notice, sir, like ako, growing up here in Metro Manila, I had several experiences where meron na tayong earthquakes dito. But there's kind of a difference nowadays kasi parang mas aware ang mga tao. And I did notice that PhilVox is very actively, conducting community drills. As a matter of fact, meron tayong mga days na ginagawa po natin yan. What made it so different now, sir, compared to, say, 10, 20 years ago?
10, 20 years ago, our understanding of earthquakes, even the awareness of people, hindi ganun kataas. No? So, now there are so many examples of what earthquakes could do. We have the Japan earthquake, we have the Indonesian event, and applying it here in the Philippines, given the situation na nangyari, we also have social media na nagkakalat ng info. Immediately after the event, they will immediately text or send messages na, okay, may lindol dito, and we just don't know yung parameters of the earthquake immediately. But I think the biggest contribution would be media. No? So there are more people raising people's awareness about hazards related to earthquakes and volcanoes and even typhoons, etc., tropical storms. And with this, it's reaching a lot of people, and I think this is important kasi with this type of knowledge, people could prepare themselves.
But what we're doing is we're equipping our people that should an eventuality happen like that. No? So what are the steps or things that PhilVox now is doing in order for us to be able to minimize the impact or reduce the risk should there be an earthquake?
Okay. So, as we've already identified what the hazards are, it's now important to quantify yung level ng hazard. No? So that's why we come up with hazard maps where landslides will occur, where liquefaction will occur, where the active faults are located, what is the expected height of the tsunami, and what is the expected level of ground shaking. So with this, armed with knowledge about this, you can already do engineering intervention. If you want to settle in this place, you have to know these hazards and then try to mitigate itong effects na to. You can either improve, for example, an area which is liquefaction prone, you can improve the ground, no? So patitibayin yung ground, or you could improve the foundation of your building. No? Of course, ground shaking is already part of it's already an issue all over the Philippines kasi even as far as Palawan, meron tayong requirements, design requirements. So our input na lang is to provide what would be the level of ground shaking all over the Philippines so that engineers could design structures properly. This
So
is very
it means
important.
na kailangan sila hand in hand, no? We should be all partners here. Hindi yung matigas ang ulo natin. Gusto tayo magtayo ng building na 6 stories. Alam naman natin na may problema doon. Kailangan maniwala tayo at makinig tayo kung anong meron tayo.
Well, a 6-story building can also be built in areas na medyo hazardous, but the engineering intervention is higher, no? So it medyo costly. So that's why it's important na define ano lang yung minimum specifications natin for building structures in areas. No? So land use planners, people think na ang issue ng earthquake is only government. It's an all government approach dapat yung so government agencies lang daw ang mag-band together and mag-work.
Kasama ang private sector.
Private sector. But it's an all sector approach sana. The religious sector, the private sector, even the communities na exposed.
Even the Department of Health, they should be very much into this also.
Okay. So all departments would have to pitch into the need na i-improve natin so that once the earthquake will occur, kakaunti na yung pwedeng casualties due to this event. No? So, i-minimize natin casualties. And then, we run all of the scenarios. And what's causing the scenario to come to this point na marami ba siyang informal settlements. No? So, then sabihin na natin na
we address the
issue. So, we see it's very important to put within radar range ng government yung assessment. No? So, our job here in FIVOS is to provide scenarios all over the Philippines. People think na it's only Metro Manila will be hit by the big one.
Marami na ngayon sa probinsya. Di po ba the most recent? Surigao, tapos marami na rin sila. And even in Bukidnon province, parang last month, meron tayong mga ganito din na paggalaw.
Tama. So, here in the Philippines, it's already part of our culture na meron talagang lindol na. So, kung sisipatin natin yung literature natin, nakasulat doon mga patungkol sa lindol. In fact, we have a word for earthquake. Hindi natin ito in-import, lindol.
Lindol, sa atin yun
linog at saka ginginid.
Yes.
This is something na na-develop through time na meron tayong exact word for this, meaning earthquakes occur a long time ago because we develop our own word for it.
Sir, heto naman, awareness sa mga tao, sa mga mamamayan. What should they do? Should there be an earthquake? How should they react? Should they panic? Should they bring what should they bring? And what should they care for?
So, kadalasan we provide them with the scenario. So, ito po yung what we will expect. No? So, there would be damages, there would be utility failures, there might be fires. And knowing all of this, what do you need to survive? So, we've already advised people to bring their own kit. Kasi
so, dapat yung kit na yan palaging nandyan lang. And very easy for them to get.
Right. But more important is number 1, check the structural integrity of your building. Okay? That's number 1 because all of the preparedness measures na ginagawa natin, wala yung pagbumagsak ng building. Okay? So, it's important to look at the important elements of the structure like yung beams, yung columns, and their connections so that you will know na pag umalog, it's just the walls and some portions of the windows that will fail. But the overall skeleton of the building is still there and intact at hindi magko-collapse on top of your head.
Okay.
That's number 1. Number 2 is even if it doesn't fail, there are a lot of non-structural things that may fall. Let's say mga lights, air conditioning units, flagpoles, etc. that might fall.
Tsaka yung mga, kunyari, yung mahihilig sa mga libro, may mga bookshelves sila, baka maatabunan ka noon.
So it's important that this be secured properly. No? So if you can bolt them and secure them in the walls, properly secured siya, then that's also would also contribute. No? How do you know if it's already secured? You do a pull test. Hila-hilain mo lang in all directions. That will tell you if it's already secured. One portion of the house that must be well secured is the bedroom. If you
Kasi minsan, tulog na tulog ka
If you look at 24 hours, we spend what? 8 hours of work, 8 hours of leisure, 8 hours,
8 hours
of sleep.
Okay,
so we spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping. So dapat well secured yung mga bedrooms natin. And we don't know when earthquakes will occur. Pwedeng madaling araw, pwedeng
okay lang kung nangyari siya na out kayo lahat sa bahay. Pero kung mahimbing ang tulog ninyo lahat.
natin. So, it's also important to exercise kung ano yung dapat natin gawin. No? So, we do the lock, cover, and hold procedure. We protect our head or we go under a sturdy table. No? And these are all important behavior during an event kasi tinutumba lang naman tayo ng earthquake and there are a lot of debris falling. No? And finally, of course, kailangan natin mag-evacuate to an
To a safe
area,
place.
safe place.
When should one start,
To
evacuate?
So, iba-iba yan sa ibang lugar. No? So, pero the message that we send to people is this: if you feel that you want to evacuate, then you should evacuate. If things are starting to fall, you evacuate. No? If the ground shaking is extreme, meaning tinutumba ka na, you start to evacuate. No? There is also a procedure for shoreline communities added to kasi there might be a tsunami. So aside from evacuating from your house, you need to go to higher ground.
Place,
higher ground or go inland, farther inland. No? Kasi there might be a tsunami. So, kasi the trick here is kung nakikita mo na yung wave, it's already too late for you. Kasi mabilis yung wave. Mabilis yan. So, if you're still in the shoreline, nakikita mo yung wave, it's already too late for you kasi mababasa ka na nun. No? So, hopefully, makatakbo ka dun sa mga lugar na safe. No? So, right now, we're also looking into vertical evacuation, identifying buildings that will survive during an earthquake near the shoreline. And ito po yung pwede nating takbuhan during a tsunami evacuation. Kasi there might not be enough time
for you to go higher up.
Yeah.
Opo. Sir Ishmael, would you say na itong efforts ninyo ngayon, educating our people, increasing awareness, and preparing them, is it something a continuous event in our in what we're doing, so that it's not something na ningas kugo na just because ngayon may mga nangyayari, so we're so actively involved in it, but then after a while when it's so quiet na naman, wala na naman.
Sa FIVOX naman, continuous yung raising ng awareness namin. So we target teachers, we look at community leaders, we constantly do the teacher training program, we educate the university students, we accept university students to become aware of our system here. We post in Facebook, we tweet about earthquakes, about past events, and in fact we encourage people to look at history. No? So history itself will tell you na okay, nagkaroon ng earthquake na matagal na dito, it's already ripe for a big event and it's already time to prepare. And preparation is not something that you do now lang. It's a long process na continuous. No? It's behavioral change. No? So if part of the preparatory work is to have your cell phone always charged, then continuous itong ginagawa natin. No? So if ang means natin for communicating with our loved ones is to send cell phone messages to relatives outside the impact zone, then we should know yung phone numbers ng relatives natin outside the impact zone. So, ganun po yung ginagawa nating procedure. No? So, of course, different zones like offices will have different safety procedures, no? Especially areas where there might be hazardous materials or malls. No? So, our malls are like parang death trap siya when there are midnight
That's
sales.
True,
Na dami-dami.
So, mas delikado yun.
Mas delikado siya. So, we always encourage mall owners na always prepared kayo because people might evacuate. Minsan mag-stampede, no? We've seen that in cases na nagkaroon ng earthquake sa Surigao, and there's a mall there na nagtatakbuhan yung mga tao na tutumba. So,
it increases casualties kasi. When you panic, you don't really know where you're going. So, lahat ng tao pupunta in one direction.
That's right.
And there's a problem there.
So, it's always important advice sa mga families out there na to know or to familiarize yourself with places you frequent. If your family frequents this type of mall, okay, pag nagkagulo, dito tayo magkikita, dito kayo dadaan. Okay? So, or nagkahiwalay tayo. Or sa school, of course, children should be, especially children kasi hindi pa sila nakaka-experience ng malaking earthquake. No? So, if you look at July 16, 1990 earthquake, it's like what? Nearly 30 years nang hindi nagkakaroon ng nauulit itong event na to. So it's always important na yung mga mas bata pa at that period, hindi pa nakaka-experience ng talagang earth-shaking event. No?
So, hindi pa nila mag-grasp yung importance at saka yung danger.
Danger of the
Sa
earthquake.
tingin niyo, Sir Ishmael, what is the greatest challenge for you now dito sa PhilVox in terms of, the work that you do with, making people aware about the earthquakes that could possibly happen to us?
I think ang malaking challenge is breaking this yung knowledge wall. No? Some people syempre sinasabi hindi ito mangyayari sa akin. And kung mangyari man, hindi ako apektado. At kung apektado ako, hindi grabe. At kung grabe na, bahala na. So several tiers of beliefs ang kailangan mong basagin. No? So babasagin mo yan isa-isa to the point na okay, kailangan akong maghanda. Okay. So it's important that up to that level na okay, aware ako na apektado ako ng grabe. I should prepare.
Kasi preparation is the key here. Not just awareness, but preparation.
That's right.
Sir Ishmael, maraming salamat po. What is your message to our viewers?
Okay, so ang message po namin here in PhilVox is it's always important to prepare here, especially if you plan to stay here in the Philippines. At least once in your lifetime, makaka-experience tayo ng isang malakas na lindol. And with that, it's always important to have a plan. And with a plan, we are planning for survival. And with this, I hope that during a large earthquake, makikita-kita po tayo na safe po kayo.
Huwag makikita-kita ng kung saan, kundi na safe tayo. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat ulit. Narinig po natin ang ating expert here from PhilVox, and I'd like to thank Sir Ishmael again. Remember, dear viewers, that in Proverbs 28 verse 14, sabi dito is, "Blessed is he who trembles before God." Pero po, isipin po natin, preparation, and not just awareness is needed for us to save lives, not just our lives, but the lives of the people we care about. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
We find in our hearts what God does best. We're happy to share it too. Dynamic living, making the best of you on fire. Dynamic living, sharing the faith, we're giving the love and bringing the total you.
Pag sinabi ba natin
If you have been blessed by this program, share hope and help us continue to bring hope everywhere. Send your donations to South Philippine Union Conference through any of the bank details shown here. Hope Channel, sharing love, changing lives.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
A Of course.
Sometimes. Why not? Yes. My brother.
My mom. And of course, my dad.
The policeman. Boss. My teachers.
My grandpa.
When I'm threatened.
When he stares at me.
When I hear his whistle. When they raise their voice.
When they call me by my full name.
Whenever he calls me like this. Hey, come on, bro. Because they're the law.
He's older than me.
My grade would be at stake.
They're my parents.
Since I'm younger than him, I'll be fired if I don't. You know.
Obedience
Is more than a state of being obedient.
it is our
Willful practice of obedience. Conscious
decision
to obey policemen.
To obey
and
our
other
parents.
teachers. It means submission to the rules
which are meant.
to keep us safe. Likewise,
Obedience.
is a manifestation of love. I respect my
I love my mom. I love my
older
dad.
brother.
Besides,
It says we obey
our grandparents,
our older brother, people of authority, our
our
boss,
parents, in the Lord.
Lord.
For this is
right.
We are from Mountain View College. And we have the utilities of a little town. For more than your basic needs. We have the heart for outreach. MVC can bring out your compassion and literally exercise it through the SULAD Student Missionary Program, among many other outreach activities. And when you need to take a break, MVC can also feel like a resort. So you will be refreshed. We have serene and scenic landscapes. Thanks to a rich, faith-filled history. We have a campus that's big enough to build your dreams and future on.
Come and build your future with us. Join the around 2,000 students from all over the world, 17 countries, who have come and build their future with us.
Here, we have activities to develop your emotional, social, physical, and spiritual aspects of your life.
Experience the best in Christian education. Come and build your future with us at Mountain View College, Valencia City, Bukidnon, Philippines.
Come and build your future with Mountain View College. Aduna ka ba'y buot masayran sa kinabuhi? Aduna ba'y kagawasan sa sala o kasakit? May paglaong pa ba ang mga minatay? Unsa ba'y padulngan sa kalibutan? Mga higala, ipangutana kay pastor. Ipadala ang imong mga pangutana ug tubagon ni pastor gamit ang Biblia. Pangutana Pastor, usa ka serbisyong gidalit kaninyo gikan sa Hope Channel.